You know, sadly, for millions of Americans, the closest they will come to becoming a real rock star is playing this, a video game. But for me to even entertain becoming a great drummer, I need a perfect drum.
The perfect drum will be round and made of high-quality wood that's totally smooth. No bumps or scratches that would interfere with its beat. Every type of drum has a slightly different sound, and even within a single drum kit, you've got a full range of tones, from the high-pitched snare to the low-pitched bass. Now, I'm interested in building a rack-mounted tom. It's a drum that helps to round out the kit, and I'm at one of the best places to do it.
We're at Ludwig in Monroe, North Carolina. They've been making drums since 1909 that produce a rich, consistent sound under constant abuse.
Drums provide the backbone for all kinds of music, from rock to jazz, but how do they work? The short answer? Resonance. When you strike a drum, the impact makes the top or batter head vibrate. That vibration sends sound waves downward through the inside of the drum toward the resonant head. That's the surface that bounces back the sound. Soon, every part of the drum is vibrating together, producing a rich, even tone. The more resonance a drum has, in other words, the more it's able to vibrate, the fuller and richer its sound will be. As for making a drum, Ludwig's resident expert Kevin Packard explains that a lot of the process is intuitive.
Drumming is an emotional process. Making drums is the same type of thing. It's an art. It's not just science. It's not something you can do on an assembly line. It's something that has to be felt.
With drums, that intuition and a lot of craftsmanship come together. It starts with the shell. The shell is made of thin sheets of hardwoods like maple and birch. They're glued together at the mill into plies that are 2 or 3 pieces thick. These thinner pieces of wood can be bent into a rounded shape more easily, and because they're so flexible, they're also more resonant.
So let me be clear on something. 3 plies of birch.
Exactly.
Stuck together.
Yes.
Glued together.
Bonded together. Yeah.
Bonded together. And you can actually see the layers if you look really closer.
These multiple plies of wood become even thicker as the shell is formed, thanks to something called the bladder press.
We're now building what will be the foundation of our drum. This is the beginning of the shell, and it's on this that our various drum heads will sit to perform and execute the perfect Ludwig sound. All right, so we need to start gluing. Right under here?
Yeah. Go ahead. Just let it go.
First, glue is applied to the middle piece of wood, the core. This is the thickest layer of the shell and helps to make it sturdy and durable.
And then we add our third, most interior layer. This again, 2 ply of maple.
Inside the press, the mold pushes on the outside at the same time that air pushes from the inside, creating a perfectly round shape. Meanwhile, an electrical current moving through the bladder press helps to dry the glue in just 5 minutes.
The red button? The black one. The black one. Yeah. All right. Are we grounded?
Yeah, we grounded.
We're grounded.
And before you can grab your sticks, the shell of the drum is ready.
You raise the bladder. That's aluminum, right, Israel?
Yeah.
So that helps with our conductivity inside these molds when we apply the electrical charge. This one comes out. Oh yeah, it's still warm.
Yeah,
still warm. And this is how much precision they have here at Ludwig, is that they can do this process and create a scene that perfectly matches, and they can do it every single time within 0.2 of a millimeter in accuracy.
Workers drummers have to sand down the newly created seam on each shell so that the drum is perfectly smooth inside and out. Those streak surfaces help the sound travel more easily and resonate longer. These shells are on their way to being able to produce drum beats, but they'll still need some heads before they can really resonate. Coming up, our drums get some rock star style.
Mr. Van Halen, your drum is almost ready.
We're at the Ludwig Drum Factory in Monroe, North Carolina, learning how to make a drum. We've still got to add the drum heads and do some tuning, but before we can finish the assembly, we're gonna give our drums some glamour.
As important as the type of wood you use, so is the color of the wood, the paint. It's purely cosmetic, but it really matters to a drummer who wants to look good. That is the domain of Carol Carpenter, who is our master painter. We're going to create a beautiful canvas, our shell.
First, Carol adds a base coat. Then she mixes the paint with some rock and roll sparkles. And now she's ready to layer on the color. Seems easy enough until you consider that every paint job has to be consistent, so that pieces of a drum kit can be added or replaced over time.
And I'll take about 4 times like that.
You mean you'll apply glitter around 4 times
Yeah.
to get it evenly distributed so
Right.
that it looks something like this? This would be the
Right.
first.
You do it.
This is sort of the standard you're shooting for, right?
Most drums are painted in a series of standard designs, but Ludwig will make drums to order, although they can cost up to $20,000, especially if they're made of rare woods.
Carol's actually too modest to admit it, but she paints the drums of more famous people than we have time to mention. This is Honduran Santos rosewood for Alex Van Halen. Mr. Van Halen, your drum is almost ready.
Before the heads can go on, these drums still need some more structural elements.
Once the shell is finalized and all the appointments have been made to it, the skilled craftsman takes it over to one of these machines right here, and it's drilled for all the mounting hardware that is needed for the shell.
That hardware is what's known as the tuning lugs. These lugs, up to 20 per drum, allow the drummer to raise or lower the drum's pitch. But there won't be any pitch at all without one last essential part of the instrument, the drum head.
And these drum heads come in here starting as square pieces of, what is this?
It's polyester film. It's a specialized polyester film that's made for heat shrinking and durability.
Okay.
Essentially what happens is every time a drum head comes in that state right there, it's put in one of these machines and cut into circles and heat shrunk to assume this shape right here.
Until the 1950s, drum heads used to be made of calf skin, but they were prone to rotting and tearing. So these synthetic drum heads are now the norm, and different textures are added depending on the kind of sound a drummer wants. Once the heads are cut, they're fastened into place. Most drums have 2 heads, the batter head on top, the resonant head on the bottom. This is where the tuning lugs come in. The 2 heads can be loosened or tightened with those lugs to create a lower or higher pitched tone. And when the drummer finally swings their sticks, the heads and the shell work together as one, creating a beat that will resonate just the way any good drummer would want it to.